Taliban puts on its first military parade, using equipment courtesy of the Biden administration. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. This video is brought to you today by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or visit our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. But let's talk about this. Kabul, Afghanistan. The Taliban put on a military parade through the streets displaying the military equipment left behind by U.S. forces as they hastily and ill-preparedly withdrew themselves from the 20-year-plus war with the insurgent Taliban army. My first video to open this channel was about this situation and how the Taliban first disarmed the populace, and as the country moved forward with this vicious leadership, atrocities are mounting every day. This propaganda display with this military equipment is, for me, infuriating, especially knowing that this was executed with the utmost of incompetence.
Courtesy of Uncle Sam, American-supplied armour, now riding under Taliban colours. The spoils of victory being paraded by the new masters of Kandahar. An extraordinary sight in the city where their movement began and where they could now bask in triumph. Their ragtag desert army now mechanised, even with the odd helicopter. Propaganda gold for jihadists the world over. But they're not just playing with new toys. In Kabul, there are reports the Taliban is securing its grip, carrying out atrocities. We spoke to one Afghan in hiding because he'd worked as a translator. Anonymously, he relayed reports of Taliban squads moving through the city, hunting down anyone who worked with their enemies.
They just killed 10 people in one street. They killed people anonymously, and they just killed them during the night.
10 people were killed in the night?
Yeah, 10 people were killed in the night. They were all working in the Afghan government.
In Bagram Air Base jail, former inmates revisit the site of their incarceration. More propaganda showing the Taliban consolidating its control. Its leaders have made promises to the West on human rights, women, executions that aren't being kept. Analysts say it can't be trusted.
It's not entirely clear that the Taliban knows exactly how they're going to govern. They seem to be a little bit surprised that they took the country as quickly as they did. But we also have to remember the Taliban have been sanctioned for their support for terrorist groups in the past. And while not necessarily the rank and file, many of the senior members of the Taliban are the heads of mafia and organized crime organizations. It's a criminally captured state.
Outside banks, more queues of Afghans desperate to get their money out.
It's been 2 days that we are here. There are a lot of problems. I request the authorities of the Islamic Emirate to reopen all the bank branches inside Kabul.
The Taliban will need assistance to run the country. But if abuses go on, can Britain, America and others really have the stomach to help them? Dominic Waghorn, Sky News.
As always, for the sake of context, this article is from the New York Post, titled "Taliban Throws Victory Parade with U.S. Military Equipment." The Taliban are now brazenly showing off the U.S. military equipment, including Black Hawk helicopters, dozens of armored vehicles and weapons abandoned by U.S. troops amid President Biden's chaotic final exit from Afghanistan. Islamist fighters staged victory parades Wednesday in Kandahar, Afghanistan's second biggest city, as they showed off the U.S. military hardware they seized. Video shows heavily armed Taliban fighters standing on top of a long line of captured Humvees and other tactical vehicles as they drive along a highway. An embarrassing scene for the U.S., a Black Hawk helicopter even flies circles overhead, flying the Taliban flag. Many Taliban militants could also be seen cradling American M16 rifles and other weapons used by U.S., NATO, and Afghan forces during the 20-year war. The value of the weapons and equipment abandoned by the U.S. was not immediately known, but it is likely to be in tens of millions of dollars and potentially arms an enemy combatant. It also isn't clear how much military inventory the Taliban have in their possession. The Afghan Air Force was operating 167 aircraft, including helicopters and planes, at the end of June, according to the U.S. Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction, a U.S. government watchdog. Prior to Kabul falling, Uzbekistan revealed Afghan soldiers had fled to the neighboring country with 22 military planes and 24 helicopters. It is not known how many other Afghan planes or helicopters, if any, were flown out amid the chaotic evacuations, but it leaves 121 aircraft potentially in the hands of Taliban fighters. General Kenneth McKenzie, head of the U.S. Central Command, on Monday rattled off a list of equipment the U.S. left at Kabul's airport when the final troops flew out. It included a C-RAM rocket defense system, about 70 vehicles designed to protect against blast, and at least 27 Humvees. The U.S. insists its military equipment in Bandung was deactivated prior to fleeing Kabul, which is interesting, seeing that they're driving it through the streets and flying it through, flying it around. But the Taliban have also seized the hardware Afghan security forces were using, which was funded by the U.S. during the decades-long war. Biden, who has been savaged by critics, and rightly so, over his handling of the deadly withdrawal, remained defiant Tuesday during an address to the nation. This is the right decision, a wise decision, and the best decision for America, he said. How that is, I have no idea. But despite 13 U.S. service members and more than 170 Afghans dying last week in an ISIS attack outside Kabul airport, Biden hailed the operation as an extraordinary success. No nation has ever done anything like it in all of history. That is absolutely a truest statement I've heard in a long time about this situation. Yeah, this has never been done like this before. Only the United States had the capacity and the will and ability to do it, Biden said. Whew. Earlier Tuesday, former President Donald Trump slammed the current administration for leaving weapons and military equipment in the hands of the Taliban. Trump argued that every scene, every screw, every nail should have been taken. To leave that equipment, billions and billions of equipment behind, is insane, he told Fox Business. It's inconceivable. That equipment is going to be coming at us for many years. It should be bombed. We cannot let them have that equipment. No one needed a crystal ball. I'm so flustered with this. No one needed a crystal ball nor needed to speculate on what was going to happen. Once control of the country was handed back to an already established regime whose history is ripe with violence, misogynistic ideals, and with the upper hand over the people of the country, I see nothing positive nor endearing about the future of that country. This whole thing is a disgrace and another notable milestone of a failing presidency. But let me know what you think. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. As always, any calls for violence or statements of violence will be removed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get notified the next time a video goes live. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.